Children, today I'm going to tell you a fun and informative story. From this story, you will learn how water keeps circulating and why it is so important to our lives. We call this water cycle. So, let the story begin. Once, Arav and Sia were playing in their garden. Suddenly, it started raining. Sia danced happily in the rain and asked, "Brother, where does this rain come from?" Arav thought and said, "I don't know. Let's ask grandfather. He will explain to us." Both of them immediately went to grandfather and asked, "Grandfather, where does the rain come from and where does it go?" Grandfather smiled and said, "It's a very good question, children. Come on, let me tell you the story of the water cycle. It is a wonderful magic of nature." Grandfather said, "The water cycle begins with evaporation. When the sun shines, its heat warms the water in rivers, ponds, lakes, and oceans. Due to heat, water turns into steam and starts flying up into the air. This is called evaporation. It's as if the water is disappearing, but it's actually vaporizing and rising up. Son, think about when you make tea. When the tea gets hot, steam comes out of it, isn't it? Similarly, due to the heat of the sun, water turns into steam and rises up. This steam keeps circulating in the air in an invisible form." Grandfather further said, "Now this steam goes up in the air. But as it goes up, the temperature there becomes cold. In the cold air, the water vapor gets cooled and turns into small water droplets. These droplets combine to form clouds. Imagine, when you take a cold water bottle out of the refrigerator, small water particles collect on its surface. This happens because the moisture in the hot air freezes on the cold bottle. Similarly, steam it cools down and forms clouds." Grandfather said, "When the clouds become very heavy and contain too much water, they spill this water on the earth. This is called precipitation. It can be in the form of rain, snow, or hail. It is through rain that the earth gets water, which fills rivers, ponds, and lakes. Imagine if you are pouring water into a cup and that cup gets filled, the water starts falling out, right? In the same way, when the clouds become too heavy, they start falling as rain." Grandfather said, "Now when it rains, water starts flowing on the ground. This water gets collected in rivers, ponds, and seas. This is called runoff. This water turns back into steam from the heat of the sun, and then rises up. It goes on. This way, the water cycle continues. Think, when you water a garden, that water flows on the ground and goes into a pit or drain. Similarly, rainwater also gets accumulated in rivers and seas. This water again turns into vapor and rises up. He goes away." Grandfather explained, "The water cycle is very important for our lives. It gives us drinking water, water for farming, and water to fill rivers and lakes. If the water cycle did not exist, our earth would dry up and life would cease to exist. Would not have been possible." Grandfather said, "Think, water is like a traveler. It evaporates from the sea and forms clouds in the sky, then comes to the ground as rain and goes back to the sea through rivers. This journey is called the water cycle." So children, from this story we learned that the water cycle is an amazing process between sun, wind, clouds, and water. It is the magic of nature which keeps the earth green and alive. Next time it rains, remember that it's part of the water cycle.